Welcome to another weekly episode of Marked Out Radio. We are the premier podcast focused on the hobby of collecting autographs and photo ops from celebrities. We talk about autograph conventions, on-the-street encounters, and everything else about this increasingly exciting hobby. I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
And in a follow-up to our conversation about the death of Catherine O'Hara last week, something really kind of interesting happened. And it basically, for those people who didn't see the news, people who had sent away for mail-aways to Catherine O'Hara for, they call them through-the-mail autographs or TTM. They basically fan mail. People who had sent autograph requests years ago, months ago, who had never heard anything, all began receiving their stuff back en masse from Catherine O'Hara, I guess her team, all signed. What do you make of this?
It's kind of wild. You have ghostly, beyond the grave autograph returns from someone who passed away very recently. It kind of makes you wonder, were these like deathbed signatures? Was she trying to dig through the pile before she passed to make right for her fans? Or was it just procrastination on the return shipping?
It's very interesting because there are some people who sent away months ago, and I saw one post from someone who had mailed away 3 years ago, who recently was part of the same batch. And looking at the returns, they all look good. So it is a very interesting thing to suddenly get all your returns from Catherine O'Hara. All her fans. I don't know. It's very unclear what the cause of death was. That hasn't been released yet, so I'm not sure if she was sick or if she died suddenly. The whole thing is sort of an interesting wrinkle as a coda to the story of her death.
Yeah, probably one of the best times to send mail back like that, because I'm not in the TTM game, but when I was a little bit as a kid with like sports and whatnot, I think it goes without saying that when you start seeing results and returns is when more people get up the gumption to mail themselves. So now, you're not going to see this and do anything. Although I'm sure there's a couple people out there that are tone deaf enough that they will be completely unaware she's dead and start mailing stuff to her. But for the most part, you can't get flooded now.
It's true. What else is happening here? Oh, there was an interesting video. I think what Zach sent you the video.
Yeah.
From actor comedian Chris Gethard. He had a bit part on The Office. He played Trevor in like 2 episodes, I think 2 or 3 episodes. And I guess there's an Office con that we had tinkered with the possibility of going to, I think, at one point, right? You wanted to go for the group photo op.
That was one of the many things I've committed to and then flaked on at the 11th hour. But in my defense, several of the bigger names canceled.
So there is this Office con. It's in Pennsylvania, I think, or New Jersey.
Yeah, it runs to Caucus, and I think it was the same one that used to run the actual town in Pennsylvania that it was based in, the show.
Scranton?
Yeah, that's it. I was blanking on the city.
But in any case, that Office Con is pretty big. They've gotten most of the big names from the show except the absolute biggest. But it was Chris Gethard posted on Instagram his experiences recently with dealing with that con, and it is kind of an interesting window into the con world. He claims that he was offered a $5,000 guarantee flat fee to take photo ops and sign at the table for the whole weekend, and also do stand-up, as part of those after-hours shows that a lot of these cons put on. So there's $5,000 for the whole weekend, and he claims that he has not been paid for it. And he kind of walked through some of the accounting of cons that was kind of interesting. That first the con claimed they paid him, then he claimed that. Then there was some confusion as to whether they had. Then they walked through the accounting. They were going to subtract certain cash that he kept for the weekend from his guarantee, and then they claimed that they were going to pay him in cash. They had paid him in cash. At the end of the weekend, they had him sign a paper. Then when he asked to see the signed paper, they said they lost it. Just a complete amateur hour from the con itself, But I think the story is interesting because it offers a little bit of insight into this world.
Yeah, it brought back memories of like Walker Stalker, which was a similar type of an entity that gave big and small from the property the opportunity to sort of earn and meet the fans. And granted, The Walking Dead's popularity was kind of decaying through no fault of Walker Stalker, but we saw Walker Stalker themselves sort of crumble. And this gentleman definitely paints a picture of a convention group here that doesn't seem to be doing business the right way. Yet another alleged shyster, I guess, amongst the ranks of con promoters.
I think the writing was on the wall for this particular con anyway, if I'm not mistaken. They had announced this was their last one. They were doing it, or there was some kind of announcement with them that they were in trouble financially. I'm not sure if it's the financial troubles or if it's the level of disorganization, because the con has gotten pretty good reviews over the years. So I'm not exactly sure why things went down the way they went down. But it is an interesting insight into this world.
Yeah, and I think ultimately, Chris Gethard, which, by the way, he really should be a walking spokesman for like Blue Chew with that name. It's almost as good as Grokuk from the Major Pod universe. But in any case, I think him being ripped off is not a death blow to this con. If this was like Rainn Wilson or something screaming this, I think it would be like done. But I
don't know. Look at how it happened with Walker Stalker. It was a low person who sounded the alarm, and then all the upper people pulled their names off the list. That's how it happened.
Guess we got to see if the office people are quite as united.
I mean, I thought $5,000 was a very high figure for someone of his stature, which is basically zero. But I mean, I guess the point was it was $5,000, and they were getting stand up out of him too. But I mean, these guys would do set up for a couple hundred. $5,000.
Yeah,
it's a high number.
I was bored watching this video. Like the idea that this guy is standing up somewhere doing stand up, unless he really has a switch that he hits when he's up there, that he turns up the energy. I don't. Who the hell's giving him $5,000 guarantee? But if that's what they promised, it doesn't matter how ridiculous a number it is. They promised it, and he's owed it. Again, allegedly.
I will say though, but his account was filled with detail. It sounded very credible. It did. You know, he was very detailed, and it's just unusual for people to release the exact dollar figures from these types of bookings. So when you get someone saying they were entitled XYZ dollar amounts, it's very rare for that to happen. It's a cool look into the world.
Yeah, I hope he gets made whole.
Yeah, I believe it was pretty much confirmed that the people from this con definitely saw his video and had as of when I last checked had not responded. But admittedly, that was a couple of days ago, so something could have changed.
No.
In the interim.
When I last saw, they did respond on some platform, and they said how it was unprofessional that he went public like this. I could look in a moment. I forget exactly which platform. I assume it was the Instagram post that there was a reply, but there was a reply that I saw, and
I'm not gonna lie. It is never ever a good look to say it's unprofessional to go public. I don't believe that's true. You know, when you believe you have money stolen from you, you got to do what you got to do to make yourself whole.
Here it is. Okay, on Chris Gethard's the post where he made the video, he tagged the Office Con, and they responded, which I'll give a quick summary of it. You were paid on the last day of the convention, as was everyone else. It happened on August 2nd. You waited until February to contact us. Missing payments seems sketchy AF. Always great when a con promoter speaks like they're a 13-year-old girl. Our records indicate that you were in fact paid. We have done several conventions and have paid out every single artist and vendor. It's highly unprofessional for you to post this while your agents and our team are searching for an amicable solution. Which, I mean, what would an amicable solution be? We paid you. You don't realize you were paid, or you're lying. There's not really any way to be amicable there. In the investigation, we had further discovered you had a Venmo account collecting table fees that was not disclosed to our daily cash counter, so you were actually overpaid. But I guess we can't just be quiet about that because it's not helpful to your appearance. All of this reads to me, there's always three sides to every story, possibly more in the con world where it's all smoke and mirrors and carny crap and all that stuff. But this reads like evasive con promoter 101. We have seen this over the years in all genres. This, to me, if you told me pick a side right now, you have to. I'm going with the guy that claims he wasn't paid, because I mean, it just doesn't sound good from their end. But again, always multiple sides to a story.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's not experienced with cons. He admitted publicly that he had a Venmo account. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, honestly. How the issue, I think, with me is that the $5,000 number is just a very high number for that kind of name. It just is. So right away, that's a red flag.
But the issue is they never came out and said that number is false.
Correct.
They're claiming he was paid. So
no, my point is that bolsters his side.
Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't promise that guy $5,000, nor would I pull out of my pocket and pay him $5,000, because there's no way on earth he made anywhere near that at the table. No way, no how. So I don't know.
I imagine they got wind of the Venmo account and stiffed him on some level on the payday, because they didn't want to actually pay him $5,000. Because I mean, who the hell would? And they felt like, well, here's our out, because he was as if he probably walked away with $270 in the Venmo account from the weekend, which changes the nothing.
Thing.
But
yeah, the whole thing is extremely, extremely sketchy. Extremely. So that's that. Choose who you want to believe. Let's see where it all shakes out. There was a little bit of mainstream attention paid to the hobby again this week. I feel like I'm saying that every week, practically.
It's time to acknowledge, I think, the hobby is mainstream. The combo gods are coming. They're everywhere.
The combo gods have emerged as mainstream gods. They're not just like little heathen gods that no one even knows about. They've really sort of emerged in the modern theological pantheon. I'm really struggling here to maintain this horrific metaphor, but anyway, what's the story?
All right, Mark Hamill charges a lot of money for his autograph. That's kind of been a thing for quite a while. But Fox News, in their entertainment section of their website, made a whole article basically detailing the price structure of Mark Hamill. And yeah, I mean, it's fascinating to see regular people sort of come to grips and face what we sort of just deal with on a daily, weekly, yearly basis of what these con prices are. But I think there's absolutely some bias here, that you have Fox News going after an extremely outspoken critic of their political machine that sort of fuels them, and vice versa. I mean, you could make an identical article about Stallone, who is a little more Fox News friendly, but has similar pricing. And I mean, up until this point, they haven't, which was a point Vinny made. So yeah, I don't really know what to make of it beyond that. It's just fascinating.
I have really nothing else to add to that. And the proof is in the pudding. When you go to the foxnews.com article and you go scroll down to the comments, again, if you so dare to degrade your brain cells by reading the comments on foxnews.com, you'll just see it's just tons and tons and tons and tons of lunatics, talking about his supposed politics as opposed to the actual matter at hand. So,
and not to get political, but we had a lot of that on our group of the people that I think you have severe mental issues if you are hating or loving any actor simply because of what their political views are. Like, that to me is just insane. Like, do you feel better about yourself because your views are echoed by someone, or do you care that the Luke Skywalker thinks differently than you do? What does it matter? Like, I don't get the
but I think the issue here is that one side of this, hellscape that we call a country specifically makes fun of actors and their opinions, but then frantically tries to seek validation from actors at the same time, right? So it's kind of like it's just a hypocrisy that's so obvious that it's almost hard to ignore. And that's kind of what the heart of this is. Like, if you actually care about what an actor says, that's a whole other. I mean, I guess some of these people aren't just actors; they are, well educated. But I think the larger point here is that some people are frantic to actually get actors on their side, and what they end up getting is, Dennis Quaid. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I mean, listen, seeing the crap with in our, just going off our Facebook group, if I didn't sort of respect what a democratic republic should be, I think I would never vote again. Just seeing how people have gotten so whatever with politics and celebrities who have opinions and all of that, it makes me sick. But
it's the world we live in. This is it. If everyone just honestly gave themselves over to the combo gods, maybe we'd be in a different situation. Maybe not.
That's it. 2028, I'm voting the combo gods. Right in. AOC, JD Vance, anyone else out there can kick rocks. I'm voting combo gods.
Just over Tony Hunter. Tony Hunter, right? I mean, he's the one ultimately who he does the bidding of the combo gods in a way.
Yeah, Tony Hunter.
What else we got? This one you put on here just to needle me, so I'm not going to dignify it. You got to tell it.
James Marsden is back. He's coming to Marvel, guns blazing, or I should say, I guess, like, Cyclops eye blazing. And I'm largely needling you, but at the same time, if he is going to emerge as some sort of a fixture in the new chapter, I mean, Marvel, I feel like, has as many new chapters and new eras as WWE with Triple H at the press conference microphone. So I'm not deep enough into Marvel to know if this is wave, whatever the hell, I don't know. But if he's going to be back and he's going to be doing, it seems like he's going to be more featured than he was before in whatever role he is taking on as Cyclops, I think this might be finally the time where this dude starts doing cons. Because, I mean, the leading Marvel guys make a ton of money. And I would like to think this guy wants money. And I think this would be the time to get it.
You don't have him, do you? I never asked.
I do. There was 1 year I was at TV Week. And it so happened the hotel for TV Week that I was waiting at for the NBC people was also the hotel that the Marvel, the X-Men cast was at from the premiere of the Days of Future Past, I think. And I got James Marsden, I got Evan Peters, I got Emma Roberts, I got the one I was most excited about, and no one else, like I was, because for whatever reason, I'm a big Omar Sy fan. He's a big star in French film. And when Omar Sy popped out, I was like, holy crap, it's Omar Sy. And like other people were like, oh, is that someone from X-Men? Because I mean, we're not in France. So I was like tripping over myself to get Omar Sy, which was good because no one else really cared. But yeah, so I got James Marsden amongst the X-Men people.
So yeah, I mean, I need him, of course, for his breakthrough role in Interstate 60. But anyway, yeah, so hopefully NYCC has James Marsden or some other. I mean, he's really a perfect headliner, I think, for them. But we'll see. This came up today or yesterday, I think. Steel City posted Tom Kenny's pricing, and we have a history with Tom Kenny here. There's a funny story. We're not ready to tell it yet, but there is a funny story around the whole private signing we did with Tom Kenny back in 2022. But they posted Tom Kenny's pricing, and what did you notice about it?
It's wild. I think Tom Kenny is definitely worshiping the combo gods. I'm going to run through it really quick because it's, to me, very fascinating. He is $80 per flat. He is $100 for a Funko or a trading card. He is $200 on an animation cell. He is also $200 if you want to slap that Tom Kenny signature on your arm or your butt cheek or your face, Mike Tyson style. That is $200. And if you want any sort of an inscription or a quote, that is $30. Selfie is $80. I guess the only real thing here that seems like a deal is 80, 120. That's a decent combo ratio. So 120, I guess, is decent. And also no video and audio. So the days of Tom Kenny trying to record like voice messages and stuff for a fee is gone. And I wonder, I assume no video must also, I imagine, they'll be pretty strict on watching for glass light blinkings, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I remember what even I clearly I am not in the demographic for SpongeBob, and I really didn't. If I'm being totally honest, didn't entirely know what SpongeBob was. But I was kind of clued in when Tom Kenny did his appearance at New York Comic Con in 2020. Was it 2021 or 2019? It might have been pre-COVID. It was pre-COVID. It was 2019.
It was.
And I knew that SpongeBob was a big thing. I didn't know how big, so I got a couple of items that I brought up to Tom Kenny. I had him do them. I paid retail. So at the time, retail price per item was $30. And he would, write anything you wanted, and I kept those and I sold them for a lot of money. It was a huge markup and I made a lot of money. And I said, oh boy. So then when the opportunity to do a private signing in 2022 came around, I really I hit the gas. I stomped on the gas because I knew what the upside there was. And honestly, the rate that we got from his management was still very competitive. Looking at these numbers now, they're out of their goddamn minds.
Yeah. My quick Tom Kenny story, and like you said, the private signing is a funny story that we're not telling now, but at some point, I mean, it's not only it's as good as Olivia, but there's definitely some intrigue there. We got to make an episode one day about that. But I remember the first time I got him, I think was the time you're talking about. And I wasn't in the SpongeBob demographic. I'm not organically in that. I'm too old for that. But my wife was the right age for that. And now through her, I love SpongeBob. So I am a weird man pushing 40 that loves SpongeBob. But anyway, and I remember I waited in line, and I had never seen an episode of SpongeBob. I waited in line to get my wife a personalized 8x10, and I got a photo op. And I spent 3 hours in the line, and I remember off topic, but I was in line for this, and when this happened at NYCC, there was monumental family stuff going on that I remember I was getting text updates about it. And it was I just remember being in this line for what felt like forever. But the pricing was good, and the pricing now is absurd. And you and I kind of talked about doing a second go around with Tom, and we reached out, and it's not in the cards right now, but seeing what the table menu is looking like, I don't imagine we would be getting numbers that we would want to work with.
I do think the demand for someone like Tom Kenny is so high that they'll somehow make money here. I just think it's almost abusive of I wonder who they think their demographic is at this point. Their demographic, the people are in their 20s and 30s, right? So I guess that's why they can charge that. But the premise that I don't even know what the point of this is at this point. I guess they're worried about secondary market sales. Is that why they're going so high? Why do they care about signing a tattoo? Why is that so much higher? What's the reason?
Well, the tattoo has no secondary market value, obviously. I think it comes down to
unless you kill someone and carve their skin off, and it's absurd.
Well, here's what it comes down to, and like you said, it's completely exploitative and abusive. I think as a person making a price list, and I say this with love because I know people, I'm friends with people that have tattoos like this. But if you have a tattoo of Tom Kenny's signature, I think you're on some level insane. And I would say that to their faces because it's true. And I'm insane for other reasons, and that's fine. But I think the logic is if you're insane enough that you want to get this person's name tattooed on you, you're going to pay the $200. Because, I mean, you're already paying money to have it tattooed. You care enough to live with this for the rest of your life, presumably. So I think it's just a matter of they'll pay it. Let's take advantage and shake every last penny out of them.
But that's brazen exploitation because in the past we would say, oh, the reason why we do this is because we're trying to discourage resellers. There ain't nobody reselling. There's no pretense you could possibly use to argue this except we're trying to squeeze the most money possible out of the real diehards, the real sickos.
Yeah, the tattoo on a menu takes away any sort of moral justification of I don't want to be exploited on the secondary market. I should be making the money, not the nasty, dirty scalpers. That ain't the case. Like you said, they are just shaking. They are the bully shaking the pennies of the lunch money out of the little nerd's pocket. That's what they're doing. That's screwed up. Speaking of, if you don't want to pay these awful Tom Kenny prices, I have a handful of by comparison of this, very fairly priced Funko Pops on eBay. Go grab them.
I do too. What are you talking about?
Well, listen, mine are better priced. because they're not as
I
cool.
I
think you have.
I
You
have
have
my
fancy ones.
rivets up there too. I have the same ones.
Do you? Oh, both
Yeah.
of us. Then buy from both of us. Buy one from each, because it wouldn't be fair to just buy from one of us.
I do have my higher end ones that you don't have, but
Stop flexing.
I have the one that's dual signed by him and David Isley.
Ooh.
I'm gatekeeping that one though. No less. I'm taking no less than 500 for that because, look, try and get David Isley again.
I think you should fly him back to Chiller this year.
Yeah. Anyhow, what else do we have here? Oh, some reports. So Greg 2600, respecting the gimmick, he completed or almost completed. He was wavering on whether he considered it complete or not. His Ronin project. Full disclosure, I have not seen Ronin. Have you?
Same. I have not. And
he got what's her face, Natasha McElhone, which you went nuts for that.
Yeah, it's a cool. I'm a big Californication fan. I am. I really enjoyed that show, and I sort of pop for anyone from Californication. She's the type of name I never would have gone into the city at night to get her, but she's a perfect chiller, chill out, what have you. RICC. I don't know why she doesn't do them. She should. Yeah, well done, Greg. That's a sick piece.
It looks good. Yeah. Also, this one generated a lot of humor for me. Steve, class 316. Jesus, class 316, class 2600. That's going to cause some chaos. But class 316, Steve, he hit an Ashley Furniture in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. Now, if you could have even what the hell do they have at Ashley Furniture in Bensalem, Pennsylvania? Well, they have Jordan and Jonathan Knight from New Kids on the Block. And so that kind of generated a little buzz for the group.
Yeah, he made the trip to Ashley Furniture, and it was basically class 316 and a bunch of, I gotta say this so we don't have to edit it later, a bunch of, I suppose, eager women to meet their crushes from New Kids on the Block. And it really just shows the terrible down spiral that class 316 has entered as he approaches his 50s. Back in the day, he would have, I wouldn't say he would impregnate any of them because they're far too old to get pregnant, but he definitely would have had some fun at the Ashley Furniture. He may have even tried out a couple of mattresses at the signing.
He would have plowed his way through that whole line. Let's be clear.
He would have. He's done. He is really done. It's sad. He probably can't even afford the Blue Chew, and he's just shot.
But he said it went well, as well it could be given the circumstances. He was photo ops only. The line was pretty decent. But I mean, again, why are these guys doing an Ashley Furniture for some stupid promotion and not doing an event that could make them actual money is fascinating.
Because they're musicians, and most musicians are dumb, and they want to do concert meet and greets and hole-in-the-wall type of events rather than just doing what actors and athletes do and just do cons.
To me, it's more demoralizing to be at an Ashley Furniture in Armpit, Pennsylvania, than it is to be. Maybe it's just me, but it seems like it's ultra depressing because you know what the fans look like in that part of the world there.
Yeah,
so I can't even imagine what these young ladies look like.
It goes back to what we talked about. There needs to be, and we don't have the time or the bankroll or anything to really do this, or even the access to the talent. But there is a complete hole in the market for like a music con where you would have different sections of the show with different like genres and all different things that go along with it. Like on the hip hop end, you could have whatever, like breakdancing, beatboxing, all this different stuff of the culture and rock and whatever. I don't get how this isn't a thing. I don't get it. It has to happen at some point, and we're going to be annoyed that it happened, that we had no role in it. But it makes too much sense. Get musicians out of Ashley Furniture and get a con going or something. Incorporate them into cons.
For sure. And this, it's funny because when you see pictures of that crowd, everyone who was, who's a marked out sort of person, we all had the same thought. Steve must have had a field day at this event because that was his thing. He would go to these events. He would see the lonely women eager for some kind of attention. And he was a provider of that kind of attention, and he reaped the rewards for providing such attention, and he was really that was his gimmick.
He put the cum in combos, and he completely he's done. He's done now.
Horrifying, really horrifying. Anyway, what else do we have? Totally unrelated to this. Ari went to some kind of Rangers watch party. I don't really
hell of a segue.
But Ari went to a Rangers watch party, and they got Sean Avery from the Rangers. I gun to my head, former player, current player. I have
Sean
no idea.
Avery, I think I know. I think I've heard this name before.
All right, so current or former player?
I would imagine former, since it's a watch party. He'd be on the ice playing, so he would have to be.
Maybe he's injured. I don't know. I have no idea. But he seemed to enjoy that. You get an in and out kind of thing. It's pretty cool. You do all the 80s con stuff. So we recorded a little bit early last week, so we missed all of your fabulous 80s con reports.
Yeah, so here we are. Crossfire Scott goes to 80s con. He got a ton of great photo ops. He got some photo ops signed from the past. He got other cool items signed. And the thing that I popped for most, he went rocking the marked out radio merch. And I'm so shot. I, for a second, forgot we actually launched the site. And I was about to message Scott and be like, whoa, where'd you get that? And then I realized I forgot because we launched the site in like a soft launch.
It was a soft launch, yeah.
Yeah, we never put it out for real because there was some issue. PWTs has lousy customer service, and it was something that was uploaded, and somehow it was like manipulated on the upload, and it's not right. So we have to contact them to get that thing deleted so we could upload the correct one. Hopefully that would actually go up right. So we have a whole bunch of other stuff to come, but with our soft launch, Scott showing what a great guy he is, what a great listener and supporter he is, he picked up the marked out radio shirt. I don't even have a marked out radio shirt. I have to change that. I have to rock marked out radio everywhere I go. I may even shower in it. I need to rep the brand all over the place. And that was really cool to see. And he had a great time at 80s Con.
Well, as someone who makes sacrifices at the altar of the combo gods, isn't it your duty to not shower at all?
Only before cons. You don't shower at all. And then I think you apply one light graze of the armpit, a caress, if you will, with the deodorant stick. I think the light coating of deodorant will sort of mask the unwashed scent from the last couple of months. That's all you need.
I'm not as practiced in my worship, to be fair. I'm a little bit of I've lapsed, as someone who's gone into retirement multiple times. I've lapsed. What else did you see what other reports did we get there?
Nicky Joey was there, and he had a bunch of Hasbros, including the rare Series 3 Brutus Beefcake that I cheaped out on when Brutus Beefcake was in these parts. I got the Series 1 done, which was more affordable, but the Series 3, I think, is the nicer one. I just didn't pay the $700 to get it.
Yeah, I mean, I was ripping on you for this a little bit. It doesn't make sense to me. It truly doesn't. That if you're gonna start collecting something, that you don't actually get the good ones. And like what I saw, his looks great. How you could be satisfied with yours when his is out there? I don't understand it.
You haven't seen mine yet.
I know it's not good. It's not. It's a blue card. It's not as good. The figure is not as good. It's not going to be as good.
To be fair, they're both blue cards. But I know what you're saying.
Series 1. Come on. What are we doing here?
I agree, but listen, $700 at this time of year is not great. So I was not spending $700. Listen, that's not even a great paying for. Like that, $700 is $700. So I hope Beefer's got some time left in him. Maybe one day I'll take the plunge. But up until now, I haven't always gotten all of the figures done. I got, like, for example, Bushwhacker Luke. I got him on the 2-pack. I didn't get the blue card, the royal blue card. I only did the one.
It's a mistake. You gotta do it right, or what's the sense of it? Just retire.
That's why you retire so much, because you go way too hard and you get way too obsessed.
How do you enjoy these imperfect pieces? It makes no sense.
Because life is imperfect.
When I see someone, I'm not gonna lie, and this is to anyone out there. Forgive me. I'm sorry. When I see people post imperfect pieces, I'm disgusted. It sickens me. You laugh, but I'm like, this is grotesque. It's so disappointing.
But what's perfect? I bet you even your most perfect stuff, there's some flaw somewhere on it.
Yeah, listen, I have a standard that I'm not even sure I can articulate. and that's all that matters, really. If you
feel
see something that's, I don't know. Like,
I
if it's
feel like I'm
obvious, but
less
you have the
deranged. I feel like I'm less deranged than you right now, but I mean, ultimately, I'm not because I'm buying all these Hasbros and stuff, and you're just sort of egging me on for
well, I'm
content.
not buying them. I'm looking at them. I'm
That's
like,
what I'm saying. I'm
it's
saying
terrible.
you may be less deranged than me because I'm actually out here spending the money.
That's probably true.
In other 80s Con news, Vinny attended the 80s Con, got some cool stuff done. He went to see Johnny Rods, who apparently he went to Johnny Rods' garage years ago with a custom figure, which I guess the custom figure predated the actual figure because there was an actual Johnny Rods figure. I think Vinny's looked better, but there was a Johnny Rods figure towards the end of the Classic Superstars line. And he didn't put this in the report, but I'm exposing him. He's apparently going to be helping sell Johnny Rod's house.
I mean, Johnny Rods is in his upper 80s, so I'm not sure Johnny Rods is doing much of anything in the near future. But that's how
Don't kill Johnny.
I wouldn't be me. It'll be Mother Nature. I mean, look, I don't know. Anyway, I thought I had a joke there, but nothing came. What else? What else posted?
Much like Class at Ashley Furniture.
Oh, poor bastard.
All right, Richard Rose got Matt Hughes and George Martin on some cards. Richard Rose is always active. He's always out there getting stuff done, and it looks great.
Do you have Matt Hughes?
I don't. I tried to like UFC for a hot second in, like, I don't know, 2007. Not 2007. Maybe it was actually way back, and I don't know. It just wasn't really for me. It was not enough spandex, not enough soap opera storylines. I don't know. Pro wrestling's more my bag.
I got Matt Hughes.
Yeah, I was probably wherever you got him. I just didn't bother.
He did a signing at the mall, I believe. I believe it was the mall for the UFC coffee table book, which I have. If you can believe it. So,
I can.
Anyway, I do have that.
I
full disclosure, I like coffee table books. Do I display them on a coffee table? Absolutely not. Are they on a shelf where you cannot appreciate anything about them? Yes. But I do have a bunch of coffee table books.
You should make a coffee table book about coffee tables.
No. Well, I had the Friday the 13th coffee table book. Actually, have I ever showed you that? I have a lot of autographs on there. A lot.
No. Are they personalized?
Yeah.
That disgusts me.
Me too. That's why I haven't taken it out of its cage anymore. It's sort of it's hidden away. Disgusting.
Speaking of what disgusts me, I'm gonna really hate myself for this on the listen back. But I jumbled Richard Rose in front of Phil because Phil is at the 80s Con. So now I got to go back to the 80s Con, and this is going to throw off my OCD. But anyway, Phil attended 80s Con. He had his encyclopedia. He got it inked up really nicely, and he also completed a Janetti Neidhart print. And you don't see that many Neidhart pieces coming around anymore because honestly, in Con language and con history, he's been dead for quite a while. A lot of the current collectors weren't really out when he was, so that's always cool to see.
When he was out and about, he was everywhere, and then
he's
and now he is 6 feet under. Where are we on this list? Chasing Graphs. He hit Florida again. I mean, that's where he lives. I think that's his stopping grounds. But instead of hitting NXT, he hit baseball, specifically the Washington Nationals. So I guess you really go for like prospects and whatnot, right? That's the idea.
Yeah, I think he got Dhillon Cruz, who's a pretty big Nationals prospect. Even though last year he was kind of not really doing a hell of a lot. He was hurt and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, spring training is fascinating. It's not quite what it used to be from what people tell me that do it like routinely. But you see pictures and stuff even today, and it's like there's like one row deep on a fence with sort of major names that they come over, they sign. Granted, kids are better at spring training than the adults. You kind of need to have a child you can exploit and bring down there. That'll be a goal.
It's true in a lot of circumstances.
Yeah. I will be exploiting my child when they're old enough for spring traiing. I want to try spring training.
Child has already been signed up to be exploited.
Yeah, we're going to spring training to be exploited. It has to happen. If a kid's going to be exploited, it might as well be by me. Actually, yeah, that sounds kind of Epstein-y. That sounds a little Epstein-listish.
Insane.
Yeah, I'm saying on a combo level. Sorry, guys.
On a combo level.
Yes.
Tyler also headed to Florida for some Kentucky Derby and Preakness autographs. Now, just to be clear, he got the jockeys to sign, not the horses. I know some of our listeners might be confused.
Listen, you need to go for the hoof print next time.
I've been holding that joke since we made the list here. It looks cool. It's not really my cup of tea, all this with the horses and whatnot. But I mean, listen, people are into what they're into. When Greg posts those Formula One things, I'm like, oh, it looks cool. I don't mean it. But you know what you like, right?
I like seeing different stuff just because, to me, if we could be the like one-stop shop for everything, that's pretty cool. On a personal level, I probably couldn't care much less about anything in the world than horse racing, but it's cool objectively. I mean, he didn't even get selfies with the horses. Isn't that like a thing? Like, yeah, I get the horse looking in.
That's what I mean. I would be more concerned with the horses. That just shows you where I am
with each horse. But yeah.
You got Pyomai, right?
Yeah,
Pyomai. Yeah.
Crap, I didn't get Pyomai. Pyomai was at that con, I think, that first Sopranos con. I didn't do it.
Oh, what a shame. Wicked Ink Wednesday, once again, rocked the house this week. Some really cool stuff. Brett posted a G1 Climax program signed by Hiroshi Tanahashi. You know, I honestly put it up this week just sort of to make it. That was an offering to the combo gods because I'm expecting, now that Tanahashi is retired and now that he has a big rubber guy that was kind of heavily advertised for pre-order, that Tanahashi is going to do a con run in the US. That's kind of a no-brainer, right?
Yeah. I'm sure Sonny Ono's fingerprints are going to be all over him and he's going to be going around. He's got it. I still haven't purchased the big rubber guy.
Did you get Tanahashi at Legends of the Ring that time or no?
No, I got him at the ROH New Japan meet and greet at Hammerstein.
Did I not go to that?
You didn't. I think that was during one of your retirements. I got Tanahashi. I got Evil and Sonata. I got... Shoot, who else did I get? I was supposed to get Dragon Lee and some other dude, I forget, but he like no-showed, and they like refunded his meet and greet, and then they gave us free promos that was signed after the fact that I think I sold soon thereafter.
Well, I have no recollection of when this even was. Do you know what year this was?
I don't. I could maybe figure it out, but not too well because the Google Photos is not great. But
so, I got him. I got him when it was Tanahashi, Liger, and Prince Devitt, now known as Finn Balor, were at Legends of the Ring at the New Japan table. How come you didn't get him then? You were there.
At that point, as crazy as this sounds, or maybe as sane as this sounds, I wasn't getting people like preemptively. I didn't watch New Japan. I still to this day, when I try to watch New Japan, even with the American like English commentary, like it doesn't do it for me. I don't know what. So I'd be like, who cares? They're just Japanese wrestlers. I don't need them. And then of course Finn Balor went on to be Finn Balor, who I've gotten since. But yeah, it was a bad play on my part. Yeah,
because I mean Tanahashi was there with the IWGP Championship.
Listen, that booking kind of sounds like our booking at the big event, like 10, 15 years prior. You have future like stars, you have active titles, and that is definitely a booking for the ages that I skipped on.
It really was. I remember being just irrationally excited for it. It was very cool. Anyway, so that's why I'm excited to see that Tanahashi graph on the program by Brett. Eric posted a Batman comic, CGC encapsulated, that was signed by Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, and Billy D. Williams. I mean, I love seeing high-end pieces unmarked out. I don't know why. I just love it.
No, it's sick. It really is. That is a museum piece.
And then finally, Scott posted his My Blue Heaven poster, signed by Steve Martin.
Love Steve Martin. He's one that I'll never get, and that stings a little bit. But what do you?
I mean, you got to pay your dues, and you go out and wait for him and hope for the best. That's how people get him.
Yeah.
And honestly, he's been signing a lot lately. I've been seeing a lot of positive, stories about people who've gotten him recently. So maybe honestly, it's just time to do it.
He's probably one I could bum rush with video. He's old.
You have the op already.
No, I don't. I don't. I never saw Steve Martin.
Oh, I thought you had.
No, I got nothing. I have absolutely nothing. So it's time for me to dust off my psychotic cape and get back in the game.
Maybe it is time.
Cameron's got nothing on me besides a fake cancer story.
He has a fake cancer story.
That's apparently what he tells the people. He gets up to them and says, "I'm dying of cancer. Can you take a photo with me?"
What a way to lead, right?
I mean, I guess always be selling, and I guess most of them say, sure.
I guess it's not worth arguing with the guy. You don't look like he's dying to me. Well, he kind of does look like he's dying, so I understand why it's credible that people believe this.
I applaud him for realizing he looks like he's dying of cancer and like knowing how to like make the most of it. I guess.
Imagine making a claim like that, and then someone just sort of instinctively weighing that claim and go, "Yeah, I believe it," and then not wanting to argue.
What are the combo guys going to do with that? Like you're faking cancer to get combos. Are they proud? Is that a good offering, or are you going to eventually get struck by lightning from the combo?
No, I think it's honoring the gods. Maybe the lesser gods. But certainly, the next step of this asinine bit is to start naming the combo gods. So anyway, we're backing ourselves into a little bit of a corner here on this bit, which I admit I enjoy way more than I should, but here we are. What else we got? Photo with Friday. So did you notice the prodigal son John Sig returns to Marked Out? Do you see?
John Sig came back with a Vince McMahon shot from 2004 that he definitely used to inflict mucho damage back in the photo op game days.
For sure.
He scored many a point against me with that Vince McMahon shot.
So he brings it back and he gets some additional use out of it. Ryan posted it looked like a very, very old classic James Vanderbeek shot. We actually forgot to lead the show off today that James Vanderbeek had died. Now it's kind of late to say, but we had a few people posting ops with James Vanderbeek, but Ryan's was the coolest because it was the oldest.
Yeah. Quick note about Vanderbeek. This is going to sound kind of weird, and I know I'm seldom serious. I promise you I'm being serious now. I don't know if many celebrities have died in a more like poignant way than Vanderbeek. Like I was actually going through his Instagram yesterday. His videos, like he was really getting on his philosophical stuff, and it was powerful. Very it was all the premature deaths of people are sad, but seeing Vanderbeek seemed like he was a nice guy, family man. He had his head screwed on right. It's a shame.
You didn't see the controversy?
What controversy?
So that right after he died, I guess his wife posted a GoFundMe for him. Did you see that?
Yes, I heard about that.
Well, did you see the thing that a month before he died, his family bought a $5 million home?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
They had been renting a home, and they purchased the home for $5 million right a month before he died. So I don't know. It kind of rubs me the wrong way to start begging normal people for money when you're living in a $5 million home. In fact, I believe you can go straight to hell, in my opinion. But anyway, I did see that, and it's kind of making the rounds today in the news. It's just, it's poor timing, I think, to ask for money. Really, this whole asking people for money publicly, this beggary, I just find it kind of embarrassing.
That's a little out there. I was just judging him by his Instagram posts, and I mean, it seemed like his house was like a who's who. You had Stacy Keibler was there. You had Alfonso Ribeiro was there, and of course,
what exactly? D-listers?
Listen, I wouldn't have expected either one of them to be there. And of course, they all have to take these, which I guess is whatever. But I mean, they all take these very private pictures to post, and that's always a little I don't know if you really should be posting that, but whatever. R.I.P. James Vanderbeek. I never got him, never saw him to get him, but
we didn't go to that 90s con that he was at,
or the Steel City he was at.
Why didn't we go to that 90s con? That seemed like it would have been up our alley.
I don't know. Listen, every time we pass on a con, someone dies from it. We got to stop passing on cons. We got to go coast to coast.
Is that ultimately the answer? Stop passing. Just do them all.
Do them all. Do them all. It's the Keith Richards approach. Do everything.
And then finally, Lou posted an on the street shot with Tori Spelling. Just thought it was a great shot, so I included it. All right, on to con news. The big news this week is that Chiller Theater has been just adding names left and right, and some of them are quite interesting.
Yeah, we got Sally Struthers, we have Heather Locklear, we have Mackenzie Phillips, we have James Cromwell, we have your old buddy India Isley, who you flew up to work, and she barely worked, and then
sat in a hotel room the whole weekend. Yeah,
but she did work for 30 minutes after Jerry harassed her the whole weekend.
Listen, that does not count as work if I didn't see a nickel from it. So
it was just hanging out. Barry Corbin, and then apparently this is gonna be Jamie Farr's last chiller, which I mean, I think Mother Nature is gonna probably make him an honest man. So, but no, Sally Struthers is massive. Heather Locklear is massive. The chiller has a pulse. This again, I kind of hate when people make everything a competition, but I'm gonna do it anyway because it's funny. This still, I mean, chiller and chill out are in different zip codes. They just are. You got. We gotta mention your old pal Brooke Shields for a second. Brooke Shields is not to the level that you think she is, but she is very big. You got you have Ivan Drago. You got Warwick Davis. Like these names, as much as I'm excited for Sally Struthers to be like emerging, she's no any of those people. So Chiller's doing its thing.
I would love
Chill
to
Out
ask.
Is bigger.
Not to belabor this point again, but people love to make fun. But I would love for the people who, thought it was hilarious to have Brooke Shields in the conversation as the biggest con ever. I would like them to expose their own sort of biases by answering the same question. And then when they say something dumb, then you can get a sense of what their bias is. Like somebody could say Dolph Lundgren in the same breath as Brooke Shields, as if there's, sort of any comparison. Dolph Lundgren is, not a star at all, basically. But in any case, it is interesting to. I'm very curious how Chill Out does. But the bigger picture, you're right. That Chill Out and Chiller are really not even catering to the same kinds of audiences.
Yeah, and I think that's important when, like, for podcast content, I'm making this comparison. But there's still people that are. There was a post on the Chill Out group that was very upset about Heather Locklear was at Chiller. Why isn't she at Chill Out? And I saw Mike Simon just responded. He's like, go to both. It's the same basic location, weeks apart. Like, unless you're traveling from Oregon or something for the one, I mean, just do both. You don't have to do one. This is not politics that you gotta tattoo their name like Tom Kenny for $200 on your skin. You could go to Chiller and Chill Out. Chill Out is one magnitude of a con, Chiller's another. Both are great. That is okay for that to be true.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with Heather Locklear as an ad. Heather Locklear is definitely had a moment in the 90s, right? So
is she like Brooke adjacent for you?
No. It's not this. I mean, I was a fan of Melrose Place when I was a teenager. So I mean, and I like Heather Locklear from that. So
Does she get you in the door to Chiller?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. I thought I'd be rolling solo to that.
Yeah, and honestly, the India Isley thing is fantastic and super interesting because I have an idea who's booking India Isley. I should probably reach out, but India Isley is a pain in the ass. So I'm very curious what people are expecting to make on India Isley, knowing. Unless maybe the situation is different now that her mother is gone. I don't know. But I can tell you, we flew India out. I paid, $2,500. It was $2,000 for her flight. And she sat in the hotel room and refused to come out. That's a fact.
While Jerry was harassing us and her parents nonstop.
To be fair, Jerry was harassing me more than you, just to be fair. Because every 2 seconds, I'm not going to do the voice because I can't. Every 2 seconds, where's India? Where's India? Where's India? And I'm like, at one point, I got a little bit, shall we say, direct.
You yelled at him.
I did. I said, please stop asking me. I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer because they're not telling me. And believe me, I wish I knew because she's supposed to be making me money, I believe is what I said. So, I did. I very rarely get angry. But in that, I had no choice because he's just going to ask you the same question over and over again. It made me crazy. So I'm curious what the expectation is, by and for India at this con, and what her deal will be.
If we walk by the table and you see India and David, are you gonna go talk to your old pal David?
There's a 0% chance they would know who I am because David never. This is one of those things, but David never looked at me directly. Never. It's really hard, it's really hard to talk about how brazenly disrespected I was by those people. It was awful. It was awful dealing with them. David is an asshole. I'm probably we're gonna get an explicit rating for this episode, but I really don't like him. I wish nothing but the worst for him. Really not a nice. He's not a nice guy. He is not a nice guy. He's rude, entitled, and I understand. And I was told that part of that was his attempt to protect Olivia, but she was also rude and entitled. So, but not nearly as much as David. David is just a rude, entitled person. It was nothing but if he is the type of person, and you may have met someone like this, where if they don't understand something in that moment, they right away make accusations as opposed to trying to understand it. So that's exactly what they were. And there was accusations about everything you could possibly imagine. Most of them were nonsensical, you know.
I remember him in the hotel room when we were counting, and by we, I didn't touch a single dollar, but while everyone else was counting the money. And it was a situation where you're sitting, if you've never been in a situation like this, it sort of feels like like a scene at a blow, where basically all the cash is just dumped out and counted. And there was no magician trickery going on. It was just straight up, let's see what the count is. And I don't remember exactly what he was saying, but I just remember his tone and his presence in the room was negative.
It's hostile, right? It's hostile. Yeah.
And there was no reason for it. There was no reason for it at all. The cash was what the cash was. I'm all for protecting your spouse. I'm all for protecting your business interests. But I mean, there was nothing that needed protecting. It was as safe a space as it could get. She was in town. You flew her in. The weekend was unfolding. There was no real change in that. It was unfolding as it was.
No, but he tried to pretend. One of the things he tried to pretend that the deal we had for the extra pieces was not a deal. And then Tony, to his credit, was like, "You wouldn't be here. The flight was the compensation for this. You have to do it." And yeah, the funny thing was he did sign my SpongeBob Funko Pop because he weirdly felt flattered by it. It was a very strange moment because I was really exasperated by his hostility all weekend. But I did ask, were you there when I asked or no?
I don't think so. That might be when I was doing Atkins.
But he didn't even charge me anything. But yeah, and I remember Tony saying to me, David cares more about feeling like he got over on you than he does about anything else. So if you let him feel like he got over on you, you'll be able to get what you want. That's what Tony said, which I probably shouldn't even be revealing, honestly, but whatever. Olivia's that doesn't matter. But he did say that to me. Did I tell you that? Or I don't know if I told you that.
No, I think you did. I mean, it's honestly an important lesson in so many dealings with these people, these types of people. It's all about power. And if you have the ability to not seek the power of feeling right or having them know you're right, you can rob them blind if you just know how to sort of play their own, ego. But whatever.
Yeah, it's ego and insecurity. It's yeah. So anyway, Olivia's back. You were sick.
Back. Olivia's dead. India's back.
Oh, yeah. India's back. You were sick enough to try and set up a private. I'm like, you're out of your mind.
Listen, since you threw that out there, now here's what I envisioned. I wanted to do daughter-mother edits that I was going to sell this to the grieving Olivia fans as the last piece of Olivia merchandise you'll ever see. This is her lineage. She is going to carry on the tradition. And I was banking on India being willing to sign clearly exploitative edits. That
can someone else explain to Dana other than me why this is a horrific idea?
I think my wife actually did. She's like, "How are you going to assume this girl is going to sign these edits that her dead mother is in?" And to me, it was like a tribute.
She's in her 30s. She's not young.
I meant girl, just in woman. Sure, woman.
But I only do you know who she's dating? I brought it up yesterday.
You said the kid from E.T.
Yeah, Henry Thomas. Maybe he'll get booked to Chiller now.
But listen, just plunging you back into the Isley vortex during the era of marked out radio is amazing. And imagine us fighting with her about these hussy prints.
As funny as this might sound, 2025 me is a very different person from 2022 me. Very different.
Are you saying you'd get more angry or less angry?
I don't think anger. It would be less anger and more directness and firmness with these people. I let them get away with a lot that I would not let them get away with anymore. Unless I we needed to make the money or whatever. But I mean, it's where I'm in a different place. They're certainly in a different place. The world is different. My world is different now. So,
your world
but
is
yeah,
filled with mint green cards, and so is a
it
lot of
is.
other people's.
It is. What else? Chill Out. They added Butterbean, who is nominally a boxer. They added Vinny Pazienza, who had his moment as a boxer, actually. And then some Sopranos and mob movie names, some of the smaller names. I kind of dig it because if you're looking to round out your mob movie names or your Sopranos names, it's nice to see these people brought out.
It's New Jersey. If there's one good thing about New Jersey, and there probably is only one good thing about New Jersey, it's that all these old wannabe mobsters, or in some cases adjacent mobster people that do these mob movies, that's where they still live. So you might as well get them out. And there's a couple Sopranos. I passed on that one Russian woman the last time, and maybe I shouldn't have. I don't know. I probably will again, but I'm thinking about it. And I'm shocked you don't remember Eugene from The Sopranos, the tall, goofy one that he really didn't do much, but he was in a handful of episodes. I probably should get him. Will I? I don't know, but at least I have the option.
And what else? The big con story of the week is that MegaCon Orlando announced Mr. T, despite the fact that everyone with a big mouth was insisting that the other Medalis show, I think it was Mr. T's first and only con. Well, they got the first right, but they're clearly wrong about the only, as Mr. T will now head to Orlando.
He is in Orlando. It is the same weekend as Big Event. So I'm not saying I would have attended anyway. I would have only attended if you were attending, and I would have felt FOMO. That's the only chance I would have purchased any of this. I would not have boarded a plane on my own for Mr. T. I think someone was pointing out that, I wonder if he'll do Philly. And Greg 2600 said how Philly is the ugly stepchild sort of the MegaCon Wizard World conglomerate. But I would argue that with MegaCon Philly this year, whether they regret it or not, it was kind of every bit as big as the other ones. You had Cena, you had Mel, you had Glover. They played their greatest hits that they were bringing around the country. I don't know if Mr. T would do 2 in a single year. Possible, who knows? I wouldn't be shocked if he would eventually do a MegaCon Philly. I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility.
Does he go on a Randy Quaid run?
I don't think he goes on a Randy Quaid run, but I think MegaCon is smart enough to realize Mr. T, given WWF, given Rocky, Philly is a place he could work. He could definitely work in Philly. He would get a lot of the Northeast people that haven't flown yet. I think he has, it's not a bold prediction episode, and it's not that bold, but I think Mr. T will eventually grace a MegaCon Philly. Will it be this one? I don't know. Probably not, but I think eventually, I wouldn't be shocked if the next one. Would you have flown down if it wasn't Big Event?
I mean, it's not Big Event that's preventing me from flying down. It's the other stuff.
Yeah, but I'm saying if it was a clear weekend, would you have done it?
Yeah, why not? It's that here's the thing. What you perceive as a big deal, I do not. I mean, I flew to San Francisco for something.
Well, here's what you have to understand about me. I flew twice in my life. Granted, I actually loved the experience of flying. Prior to our flight with Arnold, I just never flew. For whatever reason, my life never really pushed me in a direction to fly. My parents, we never went anywhere like that. I never flew. And I always had a weird fear of what if you're up in the air and you have a panic attack and you want to get off and you can't. That was always my little irrational fear. And
the answer is you just don't. You gotta sit there and deal with it.
Yeah, but once I was in the air, I'm I love it. I love looking out the window. It's whatever. I absolutely love flying. Some of the airport crap you deal with is not as great, but I like being in the air. I don't get scared. I find it fun. But I've only done it twice. I've never done it alone. So the idea of getting on this plane, my brain goes to Columbus, Ohio with Arnold. And if I was doing all of that alone, then I'm sleeping in an airport, I got to figure out where to make camp after I'm booted from the terminal. If I have no sounding board, to me that makes me feel oh crap. But I mean, ultimately I would have done exactly what I did then. It would have been the same difference, and it's no big deal. But until you do it, or at least to me, it feels like it could be a big deal.
Yeah, I have no such limitations, so I don't really care. I mean, I flew to Chicago, to San Francisco, to LA, by myself for things, and to Tampa. So I would go wherever if I didn't have something. And really, the thing that I have that weekend is something I cannot. It's not possible to miss. It's just not possible.
See, I love. It wouldn't take much to get me to fly to Orlando, but I mean, I wouldn't be able to do half of what I wanted to do. If I spent a half a day at Disney or something without my wife, she would murder me. So
I mean, I wouldn't couldn't even hang myself.
Well, I actually enjoy those places. I mean, for me to go to Disney for a couple hours, go to the Hogan Beach shop and just look at all the overpriced crap before they close, that would have been interesting to me. But I mean, we can't do it.
No, alas. And then we said the funny thing is we got another email asking. Did you see the email we got asking about Kramer for MegaCon Orlando?
Yeah, listen, let's be completely clear. Tom is not bringing, and I don't want to speak for Tom, so I apologize for speaking for Tom, but I'm going to kind of speak for Tom. How the hell is Tom going to handle Kramer and Orlando the same weekend as big event? He can't. He has a great team, but I mean, Tom is always on the ground for all this stuff. Scheduling wise, I can't imagine. I don't think it's happening.
I'm not really sure why he even floated as a possibility, knowing that big event and MegaCon were the same.
Well, keep in mind,
it was never going to happen.
Big event initially had a different date that they were running with. Like, you were happy, you were free that weekend, and then it changed.
Yeah, it was the weekend before, right?
Yeah, so that pivot, he could have theoretically done it. But also now Kramer's doing this like traveling show, so it's like I don't know. I don't know if that even changes the if Kramer was willing to do a con. The fact now that people have gotten him at these stops, how much would that affect the potential to earn? I don't even know. So I mean, this whole thing may be a deal.
Oh, I think the number of items is infinite. Honestly, it's like he's signing. It's just photo ops at these stops. I think he'd make a fortune at cons. A fortune. But
someone get it done because I ain't flying to Atlanta.
That's a weird. It's just a weird thing. Just if you like someone that much, just do it. Just do it. Stop holding out.
I don't have infinite funds or time. I got a lot of days. I really.
I was gonna say, what are you talking about?
I got a lot of days. But, yeah. All right. RICC. RICC. I still can't believe it's February and RICC is like making moves. They're not making many moves I care about. They're sort of announcing like bottom of the lineup people. Not sure why. But Matt Ryan from the DC universe is attending. So I wouldn't be shocked if this is going to sort of put together other people from that. Maybe they're going to try to redo like the Flash and all that. Cause I know, Grant Gustin bailed. But yeah, RICC is in motion.
I don't know who Matt Ryan is.
Constantine.
That doesn't
CW.
Help. I didn't see that. You put this on here just to taunt me. C2E2 has added a Jurassic Park reunion. But it's the Jurassic Park. This the Jurassic Park reunion we're really not asking for. It's the kids. It's BD Wong. It's Wayne Knight. Well, they're all great. Don't get me wrong. And it's great when they do shows. But none of the big three have been announced. Now a show like C2E2 could pull one of the big three or all of the big three. They have the budget for it. Just a matter of will they do it or not.
Yeah, I think we as people and as collectors, we have to really look in the mirror after C2E2. If they don't get this done. Who is? I think this will tell us a lot about the viability of the big three from Jurassic Park ever doing a con.
I do think, though, that C2E2 kind of is a little bit of a precursor to NYCC in the sense there's a lot of like overlap there. So I suspect we'll get a Jurassic Park reunion at NYCC this year.
And before Greg 2600 corrects me, I know that Goldblum has done cons. I'm saying right now, today, in the scope of a Jurassic Park reunion. I don't know. If C2 or NY don't get this done, I don't know. So,
well, my worry is that they do it at somewhere like San Antonio or something like that, and that would just kill me. Or
you gotta go to San An. You gotta go to San An. Go see the Alamo.
Or Salt Lake or something. Anyway. If you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out Autograph Collecting community on Facebook. All links are in the show notes on Facebook and Substack. If you want your event, product, or brand advertised on episodes of Marked Out Radio, reach out to us today at markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com. Our friends at Big Time Wrestling are putting on a huge wrestling con and show on Saturday, March 14th at the OUC Shoemaker Center in Chillicothe, Ohio. Talent such as Diamond Dallas Page, Jerry the King Lawler, Mickey James, Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis, The Great Sasuke, and Stan Hansen and more will be appearing. Tickets are available at WCPBTWTIX.com. If you like what you're hearing, please subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and or review. You can leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. You can leave a comment on individual episodes on Spotify or a rating overall, or you can leave a thumbs down, a thumbs up, or a comment on YouTube. All engagement is appreciated. All right, it's time for our new segment here, a relatively new segment, the marked out vocabulary. This is a fun one because you frequently use it, and every time you use it without defining it, I kind of get a chill down my spine thinking there are people who have no idea what you're talking about. And so I'll ask you the question. So frequently you use the word suited, and suited has become a marked out, sort of part of the marked out lexicon. What does it mean for someone to be suited?
Well, before I explain, let me just sort of preface this by saying I not only use this term without explanation on the podcast, but I use it in my day-to-day life. I've definitely said it to kids. I've used it to friends. The word suited has become part of my vocabulary to the point that I really can't even realize I'm using it until I do. But what it means, it basically means like what you're wearing. Let's say someone is doing like when Charles Wright, the Godfather, would come in wearing the Godfather clothes. He is Godfather suited. Similarly, when he would be Papa Shango suited, look, I just use it now to define it. When he's dressed up like Papa Shango with the face paint and the gear and all that, he is Papa Shango suited. It comes down to what you're wearing. You could say Scott Crossfire was marked out radio suited or shirted. I think. And that's not to be mistaken with sharded. But shirted is a term that class also coined. If it's not the full suit, it's just the shirt. Considering we don't make marked out radio pants, I assume Scott was suited because that's as suited as you could be. But it could be shirted if, like, for example, like the Mountie. Let's say the Mountie had cargo shorts on and like the Mountie shirt. He'd be shirted, not suited, or half suited. How did I do?
Would you consider that a suited photo op is worth more than an unsuited one?
Yes, for sure. Without question. I was going to make some joke about a nude photo is worth more than a clothed photo, but I don't really have a good joke to make about that. So the answer is yes. I will always pay more. The only exception is sometimes one day I have to get at least one, but I've never pulled the trigger on like the suited Jason photos at like Monster Mania. Because to me, when you see Kane Hodder, for example, in the mask that isn't really the mask, in the clothes that isn't really the clothes, like, what's the difference from me just stopping a Jason in the con who's cosplaying and taking the photo? Like, obviously, it's very different, but I mean, to the people just looking in, like, who the hell is that? How do you know? Like, so I'm not always crazy about the masked one, but I've argued for a while that like wrestlers should just come in the gear. I would get infinite upgrades from people if they were in gear. If Cody Rhodes came in tomorrow wearing gear, if he was going to stand there in his stupid gear, the jacket, the whole 9 yards, the belt, if he had one, I would get a new photo at ringside, at Fanatics Fest. Any of these guys, most of the big ones, if they were suited, I would get again, which is deranged.
So there it is, folks. If someone is suited, so if you hear that term bandied about on marked out, it means it really, and it doesn't always just apply to wrestlers. It can also apply to actors. So, for example, if you are stalking the set of a particular movie or TV show, and a character is near their trailer and they are suited, that just means they are in costume when you get the photo op. And then sometimes, this is where it gets a little bit trickier, sometimes suited is used quasi-ironically on marked out. So, for example, when that time we were doing it City Day, I can't remember what we were doing, but we got Paget Brewster, and her hairs were in rollers for curls. And so she was curler suited when we got her, which obviously is not meant to be taken seriously, but is used to lightfully sort of play at the concept of someone being suited.
Remember the Boardwalk Empire day where you had Michael Pitt
suited? Yep,
completely suited, and then he like went into the trailer after he took the photos and was like smoking weed. And this was back in the time where like this was not really it wasn't like it is now where you smell it everywhere. And I remember the PAs and stuff on set were like kind of uncomfortable with us being there with him doing that, and they like would try, all right guys, you're good now, and they were trying to like clear. It was that always makes me laugh when I think back.
Yeah. And especially because he didn't care one bit.
No, he didn't even close the door. He wasn't hiding.
He was wild. But hasn't he come into some trouble in his career at some point?
Yeah. He I thought he was going to go on to do a hell of a lot more, and frankly I think he would have if he didn't just sabotage and self-destruct. But
was it related to substances? I really don't know. I have no idea.
I believe it was. He had some arrests. I think it was related to substances. I'm not even sure what the hell he's doing now, honestly. It's a good question.
But in any case, that's what suited means. And when you hear it used, it is tricky because sometimes it's used to poke fun and other times it's used with sincerity, often in the same sentence. So what it once again falls into that weird, more marked out lexicon.
And wow, Michael Pitt was arrested in 2025 on sex abuse charges. And I don't know if this case has reached its conclusion, but I mean, either way, that's pretty. I think his career is done after that, unless he's really violently proven innocent that it was some like lie. But that ain't good.
No, I haven't really seen or heard from him in a long time. And so there's that. What else is here? So the main story of today's episode focuses on. Are we flipping the order of these things? Or are we doing the?
No, we do the conundrum and then the other one.
That's okay. That's what I thought. So it relates to the C2E2 booking of the Jurassic Park people, and that is the mail order conundrum. What do you do when you want to complete a piece, but the only way to get these people is through mail order? And so, like for example, now you have a Jurassic Park piece that's being done at C2E2, or you had one that was done at Steel City, and you want to finish it. How do you finish it, knowing that the only way to get a Sam Neill or a Laura Dern or a Jeff Goldblum or a Sam Jackson for that matter is through mail away? And the reason why it's brought up to me is because I was announced recently that Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill had done a signing for Everest. I didn't do it, but now Jeff Goldblum is doing a signing for Everest with quotes. So would you ever be tempted on a thing like that?
In this case, my piece came with the big three already, so I don't need any of them. In the overall just concept, I'm always irrationally nervous of mailing something away that I feel like if you have no control of, if it comes back like complete crap, you got to go fighting for a refund. If it gets lost in the mail or damaged in the mail. So I usually don't. It's also, I think, in part that I spend so much money on buying the crap I buy that gets signed in person that I don't typically just have hundreds of dollars laying around to say, let me throw it on random mail away stuff. That's like, that's money I can sort of resist spending because it doesn't really give me whatever. I don't really feel a rush from it. It's not that cool, but I really should. And honestly, you're operating like me right now. Like, you passed on that one opportunity for Sam Neill. You're chewing on Goldblum. You largely, or at least in part, went to Pittsburgh to get those kids. I know Amy Smart was a big part of that, but you went in part to start this piece to have them. Like, how are you not? Like, any chance you have, you got to spend the money and do it. You're not like me. You can't. You just said it. Something that's imperfect or incomplete to you disgusts you. So how are you living with this thing incomplete? You got it.
It's so expensive. It's so try and guess without looking anything up. If I wanted to get Goldblum with a character name and a 5-word quote, what it would cost before shipping?
I'm gonna take a guess that is to me insane, but I'm gonna just guess it. $600.
So believe it or not, you're short.
Jesus,
you're short by over $100.
Wow.
So therein lies the issue, is that the prices are so astronomical that it becomes a situation of what exactly am I doing here with this? And
Well,
so
hold on. I'm
if
looking
he's
at it right now.
if he's that price, then Dern would be that price, and then Neil would be that price, and that's what you're looking at just to get the 3 names on this thing, an extra $2,000. That's a stupid, idiotic amount of money for something like this. It just is.
Well, here's what I was saying to you. You operate in this sphere. I have it open right now. A Jeff Goldblum send-in item it says from $199. I imagine
That's for an 8x10 with nothing on it.
Yes, I'm saying. So you click this. If I'm sending in an 11x17, it's $220. $220 for an 11x17. It's $2.25 for a character name, which is absurd. It's $275 for a quote. My piece has signature only. To me, that's fine. To you, it's not. But you put yourself.
It's grotesque.
You put yourself in this bracket though, where then nut up or shut up. Pay the money. You want something perfect, you got to pay for it.
No, I agree. Therein lies the problem. Because like there are certain things that are worth paying for, and there are other things that just aren't. And I don't think it's worth that. I don't think they're going to sell any of them, to be honest.
So why don't you pivot as a collector and just get the signature $220?
Because I don't want it. I don't want it. It would bring me no joy. That's why I look at it with contempt as being awful. Those pieces. So they bring me I get no sense of satisfaction from them.
You're with authentication, $729. That's where it's at.
Yes.
For an 11.
Yes. And it's an unreasonable amount of money. I don't think it's a reasonable amount of money. I think there are reasonable amounts, and I think they're into La La Land right now. And I'm really wondering who's paying this. I really am, because I don't imagine many are. And then so it's a situation where how are they making any money if no one's actually paying for it? Or is the price on something like a quote or a character name so high because they expect no one to actually get it and he doesn't really want to do them?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. He does not want to do them. It's sort of like when we've offered quotes for different people that the price is super high because we don't want to deal with them. We know they don't want to deal with them. It just makes sense under those circumstances and those circumstances alone. I imagine if you went nuts and ordered like 100 pieces with all the quotes, they may even reach out to you back. Listen, we can't accommodate this many. I just think he doesn't want to do them. The autograph price is reasonable. And for the average listener of this show, I want to make that clear. You can get him on a full-size poster for like $250, $240. So the autograph price is not that unreasonable. It just gets in that crazy realm if you're someone like you that needs it done to this level of perfection. Perfection costs a lot. And then you're also the person that you like to be able to sell your stuff. And if you go spend, let's say, $2,000 to get these 3 on it and to a perfect level, are you going to be able to sell this ever for $5,000, $6,000?
Well, for something like that, it would be, that would be way into the future because I haven't had any chance to enjoy it yet. But
when is someone going to spend $5,000, $6,000? You're then chasing.
That's how much I would have spent. Yeah,
but you're chasing a buyer. This isn't a guy that's going to say, "Oh crap, it's $1,200. Let me just buy it." You're chasing a buyer of extreme taste and resources. The average buyer ain't dropping $5,000-$6,000. The average buyer is going to be like me and buy a Series 1 beefer instead of the Series 3 beefcake that actually is nice. Like that's what you need. The person like you need to find someone as insane as you. Which is not.
Yeah, but what we discover, is that many of the people with means have no taste. Many of the people with taste have no means, and then there's some happy medium in the middle, I guess. And then, to me, it's not like I can pay for it. It's not a big deal, but it's sort of the principle of that. Like you feel sick about it because what are you getting for that value? You're not getting anything of value out of it. I don't know. I have a very hard time with it, and that's the mail away thing. I think in general is starting to approach that place where I'm just not sure there's any reason to do it. At the prices there, and then that's not counting shipping either way. And they really hose you on shipping because they pack it up real good. The good companies charge you a fortune to ship, but you're guaranteed to get it back in great shape.
Yeah, so I think the important takeaway here for the listeners that you're much better off. I mean, you're much better off not being a lunatic and doing none of this, I guess. But you're much better off being like me, where you kind of find charm in the imperfections. Being like you're chasing the hard, expensive drugs.
So you would send away $200? You wouldn't. So what are you even talking about?
I don't do send away, but the price wouldn't be the issue. If he was at a
what
con,
is the issue?
Well, I have them on my piece. I don't trust mail away. I don't trust it. What if something happens to it?
But that's irrational too. If something could happen, if someone could bump, he could sneeze while he's signing. I mean, anytime something could happen.
Yeah.
You're not in any control when you're in a con.
And like I said, the other point is I spend so much money as it is on the in-person stuff. To me, it's not like, oh, this is coming up. I don't feel the same urgency like I would. Like, oh, well, Chiller's coming up. I got to get X, Y, and Z. These I kind of just ignore. I don't even pay attention to them. If I won the lottery tomorrow and I had millions of dollars, or I was just in a more comfortable tax bracket than I am right now, I probably would do more of them. Because if something happened to it, oh, well, I'll get a new one. So it would be a different philosophy. But with my imperfect tastes, I'd be able to justify it a lot easier. I agree. 7 and change, talking 8 something with tax and shipping, maybe approaching 9 is a lot.
I agree. We're approaching 9. It's a lot.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's more than a lot, though. I think it's the word I'm settling on is abusive.
Maybe not as abusive as 200 for a tattoo signature. But the point is, if you got tastes like Sean, you're gonna have to pay. This is not the old days where you could get things perfect on the base price model because you were smart enough to sort of push for it. Everything's got a price, and you're paying for that level of quality. So you're better off having no level of quality like me, where you will be happy with junk. That is my pitch, to be like me and not like Sean.
Be happy with junk.
Yes, that might be a future shirt. Marked Out Radio. Be happy with junk.
The other story we had this week, you had sent me a link to a purported Keanu Reeves meet and greet. Now we're not going to post the link.
No.
But it was on like a Shopify run website, and it was pretty clear that the website was fraudulent. And then a couple of days later, you sent me a link to a Hogan's Beach Shop on Shopify that was also fake. What the hell is going on here?
Well, the Keanu thing came from Ira. Ira texted it to me, and I want to be clear because Ira was flim-flammed and bamboozled back in the day with the Legends of the Ring ticket that Terrence and James damn near ripped the guy out of his shoes to get he did the right thing to help Ira and his brand, that you have this guy ripping them off. So Ira was not conned by this. Ira texted me with the preface. He prefaced it by saying this has to be fake, right? So it's a website we're not going to give. I will say though, it lists a middle. Actually, crap. I'm going to say the URL. I'm not going to post it. It's KeanuCharlesReeves.website .website/outcome. Yeah, as you see, I'm not. This is like reading the Dhillon Hines ticket link. I'm not going to keep reading this whole thing. But the KeanuCharlesReeves.website, if that ain't a bad sign, I don't know what is. Personal meet and greet. Spend quality time with Keanu in an exclusive and intimate setting. Share a genuine conversation and create memories that'll last forever. No meet and greet facilitator is going to promise a genuine conversation. Who the hell's doing that? Professional photo. Autograph session. Bring your favorite item for Keanu to sign. Or if you know what you're reading, this is insane. A premiere screening. Watch the world premiere of this movie. Intimate group sizes, only 25. And if you want to buy it now, it's a $900 price point, but save $400 today. Today and today alone, it's $500. And it was $500 last week when I clicked the link for the first time. So this is absolutely fake. Unless, imagine it's not fake and we're laughing at this and it's actually going to happen. And we're passing on a $500 combo. But yeah, I don't know what's happening. Then the Hogan Beach Shop, someone sent me the link and I clicked it. And honestly, when you open the link, it looks like I'm trying to find the actual link. So I can I don't want to post it, but I would like to sort of tell you how to recognize it beyond the obvious. But it looks like a Hogan's Beach Shop website. It's the same design. They basically cloned the exact site as it was. And the difference is the same items are for sale as Hogan's Beach Shop, but the difference is they're charging you $90 for a signed card slabbed. All these prices are just not real because it's fake. And I imagine, I don't think they're mailing you anything. Or maybe they mail you some piece of crap so it has the tracking. I'm not sure how they would do it, but that's not real either. So apparently these scams are getting a little more sophisticated. Much like with AI, though, it's still, clear enough that you can see it's fake. If you pay attention at all, you shouldn't get ripped off here because it's obvious. But not everyone in this community can really see obvious. So it's always important to look out for the people at large.
Yeah, I mean the Keanu site was really funny to me because I really kind of looked at it closely, and it's a very interesting pitch they're making here. You know, it really, at first I was thinking, is this some kind of promotion that his management was running? Or you start to question, some of these things, is who would so brazenly accept credit card payments knowing they can be charged back, So it really is a wild thing. But
yeah, now this hobby exists in this it's luxury goods and it's insanity, but this stuff sells out quick, and you can't. That's the thing. How many I raced to buy 2 Chainz, which still hasn't sold out. Like we do, a lot of this stuff. You don't always take the most time to read something when you know it comes from a good source. You sort of skim it, you read photo op, you see what you want to see, you buy it. You don't waste that much time really on it. So if you are someone that's a little less savvy, you're not going to waste that much time on it because it's going to sell out if it's real, and you got to rush. And that's what the scammer is preying on. They know that we're not spending that much time always reading these things, and they know that a lot of the people in this hobby are not always the most book educated, and people have issues in this hobby. They're different learning levels, and they're just exploiting the quote unquote weakness in the world. And I mean, it's scammer 101. That's what they do. They're scum. But be aware. This is probably just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure there's more stuff out there like this, and I'm sure there's more stuff to come.
And then the last thing we have to talk about is you ignited a little, not a lot, but a little bit of a conversation. One of the things that you posted was, what we had agreed that we were going to post, was that the marked out autograph collecting community on Facebook, there were not a lot of tight rules as far as what kinds of things could be posted, because when you initially created it, the whole point was to get everyone talking and to get everyone involved in the same place. And what started to happen, and what's continuing to happen, is promoters and salespeople will just flood every group that they're a part of with the same sales posts over and over and over again. And there are groups that we're both on that are just filled with posts from these types of people, and it's the same things over and over and over again. And so one of the things that we agreed on was that we still wanted regular contributors, community members, to be able to post stuff for sale freely on the Facebook group. But what we didn't want was, again, the same group of vendors and salespeople to more or less spam the group. Did I accurately characterize that?
You did.
And so there were some people who were not happy with this. But I guess the big question, I didn't see it as a big deal, because at the end of the day, what exactly is it? Maybe this is worth a discussion. What do we owe our community members?
Well, let's break this down to be clear. The only person that gave us even a negative reaction, we got a comment, but every reaction, which we didn't get a ton on this, but every reaction was positive. The guy that spoke out and was like, "Oh, I don't know if you guys have the reach to charge for advertising," because that's also what the post made clear, that unless you are a paid advertiser, you are not advertising on our platforms.
Well, for the simple reason that why does someone assume that they should just be able to hawk their wares wherever they want for free when they contribute nothing of substance?
Because it's Facebook, and as he said, we're siding with the consigners who just jack up the price rather than the vendors who are. It's crap. If you, as a vendor, want to advertise on our platform and you contribute nothing, we're not doing business with you ever. You're not bringing insightful, conversation to our users. If you want us to let our users be inconvenienced by seeing your sales post, you got to pay us. That's what it comes down to. And we went back and forth a little bit, and I saw you even got involved.
Well, because it's annoying, because at the end of the day, there are vendors who are allowed to post who don't have to pay because they contribute in other ways, and we're friends with them. Right? It's that simple. I'm not going to do it. It's not a money-making operation to charge friends money. But if you're a stranger and you just want to make money off the community we're building, no, then you got to pay. To me, it's very simple. It's actually very generous, I think.
Yeah, and to go back to your question of like, what do you owe? What do we owe the community at large? This guy thinks he's owed the ability to sell. That's not what you're owed. Because he said to me at one point, he's like, "Oh, it sounded like if I want to advertise, I have to pay you." And I'm like, "That's exactly what it is. Exactly. Because you don't do anything. You don't post anything. Why are you going to advertise your crap here to make money or just to annoy or to try to make money? It makes no sense." So I feel as though we owe those people, the vendors, the promoters that do not do anything with us, for us, in any way involved with us, we owe them nothing. I think we owe the members that contribute, we owe them a lot. We owe them a safe space to like not be harassed, and that's why we delete and block and clean up things when the interlopers come in and act like morons. We owe that, of course. But I mean, ultimately, I think we owe a tight, curated feed where you can go through there and see content that matters. We ourselves, it's not even like we're posting like 500 sales posts a day. On a good day, I'll drop maybe 3 or 4 if I'm really feeling frisky, and on the average day, I drop nothing. We try to keep it a important read for the hobby that you're not going to be harassed by sales posts.
Yeah, a lot of people like want to advertise their lives. We're not posting any lives anymore, I don't think, right?
No, even for people that we're friends with, it gives other people the idea they too can share. It's just, I'm trying to keep our feed as minimalist as possible.
The lives, I'm sorry, the lives, to me anyway, as a fan, the lives are horrible. I just can't watch them. They provide no entertainment. If you're into it, there are plenty of places. There are plenty of places to find links to those. This is going to be me being a little bit, personal about it too. I don't find them interesting or entertaining. I don't want to watch people talk about the stuff that they're selling. So I don't, except Rockin' with Dan on Whatnot, I kind of love.
No, Rockin's the man.
I have to add that as a caveat, but I think I find him very funny. But I don't want to watch these Facebook lives. I don't want to see him. And so maybe I'm erroneous in assuming that y'all are in the same boat as I do and don't want to see them, but I don't want to see them.
No, I think the proof is in the pudding that, and I don't want to go down the complete wormhole of algorithms because I definitely don't fully understand them. I don't think you do either. But I feel like the groups that have tons and tons and tons of cross posts and lives, there's no engagement on anything because I think the algorithm, I think there's all those posts that the people that are in the group just scroll past. I think the algorithm starts deeming that a lot of everything that goes on in these groups like that it's not desirable. And I think you end up screwing yourself over algorithmically. And the proof is in the pudding for us. The amount of posts we have that go viral, almost everything goes to some level of it's at least a couple thousand an impression. And that's what I want. I want growth. I want content. I want dialogue. I want interesting stuff to look at. I don't want to see when someone posts like Brian Barth doing a live. It's not even Brian Barth posting; it's someone else posting Brian Barth. Like, why are you sharing Brian Barth's posts? Like, if Brian Barth did it for himself, I would still decline it, but I would understand why he's doing it. But like as a watcher, why am I sharing anyone's? I don't get it. Whatever. I want good stuff, and that's not good to me. And I like you said, if you want to see Brian Barth and other people like that, there's many groups that you will find those posts. But I think our group, honestly, is curated well.
I believe that's really that. So let's get on to some listener questions. What are we at right now? We can do that. Okay. So these are the 3 you put the 3 up here. Did you delete them from the bottom section?
I did.
All right. So are we doing them in this order or?
I picked them. You picked the sequencing. I'm good anyway. I didn't map this out in any special way.
All right, sure. So Chuck asked, how would you rank or describe the friendliness or approachability of the following categories of celebrities? Pro actors, musicians, TV actors, film actors, politicians, wrestlers, comedians, models.
All right. I'll take it first. Politicians used to have a feel for their interaction. It was almost like when you'd meet like a child star. it was very weird. It was canned. It was fake, and it was like clearly fake. But for our purposes, it was always sort of appreciated. The politicians were always, they were too scared of not kissing ass to really be aloof. Except for like Obama was pretty aloof when he was running the first time. But for the most part, they were gettable. The campaign trail was pretty good. Politics now is like a World War III. And it seems like Gavin Newsom, California governor, Ira sent me something the other day. Was doing something in the city. And let me be clear, I will never get political, but this is very close to my actual view on politics. I think they all suck. Every single one of them, regardless of their party. I think they all suck. I really like none of them. But I also do want a photo with an active president or an inactive president. So I looked at Gavin Newsom and I'm like, ooh, he might be a contender. Let me see what this is costing. And of course, there was a sit in the crowd and listen to him talk about his book. You didn't even get a signed copy. You just got, there was no photo op. There was nothing. So I didn't do it. But in the old days, like we went for Cory Booker. You went for, who'd you get? What was the woman's name?
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren. Like you and I are kind of on the same page with that. You've made more effort, but like I think that would be cool. Whether I would vote for the person or not, I want a photo with an actual president. But now, since you have, potential shootings and different things, it's a little more dangerous, a little more contested, a little more fiery. So I don't think they're quite as good. Models have always been a little aloof, I think. I haven't met a ton, but I mean, I've met some by accident, and they're what you would expect. Comedians are kind of weird in my dealings. Like they're known for being funny on stage, but they're kind of awkward and shy a lot of times off the stage. But I haven't had many awful experiences with comedians. And wrestlers are pretty cool. Rappers are by and large cool. I've had almost all positive experiences with rappers. Actors, actresses, mixed bag. And I mean, pro athletes, it depends. How about you? What?
I mean, that is largely non-committal for almost everything. I would say if we're ranking these, I think it really depends on the level of stardom, honestly. So I would put probably wrestlers at the top of the list because most wrestlers are easily accessible and most are good. Very close with wrestlers, I would put musicians. Most musicians are good. In fact, the small handful that aren't good are the ones who you will hear about. And you could pretty much safely assume that the majority of musicians will be fine. That is true also with the majority of comedians. I would say the overwhelming majority of stand-ups are fine. So much so that the occasional bad story you'll hear makes that noteworthy, Then I would put below, one step below that, I would put TV actors. Because most TV actors from most shows are wonderful. In fact, we used to go, let's talk about the New York shows, whether it was a Law and Order or Blue Bloods or White Collar or whatever, you'd go down to those sets and you get almost everybody, Boardwalk Empire, whatever, you get almost everyone automatically, right?
Agreed.
It would almost be like an anomaly if you didn't. And then a step below that, I think you could put film actors and models. Insofar as it's a very, very mixed bag. I think film actors, overall, since they're, it's a challenge. Obviously, some are very easy, but the film actors who are very easy, almost without fail, with very few exceptions, become hard over time. For example, I just saw someone post today that a slam dunk film actor like Timothée Chalamet used to be very easy, has now become quite difficult. Dwayne Johnson is a really good example. Went from being incredibly easy, almost a given, to almost impossible. And professional athletes, I think I would put at the lowest because while many of them will do it, many will not. And it's
I
always
agree, but you skip politicians. Where do politicians fall?
I mean, in the wild, I think most politicians will do it. Most. I think the big names who need security are a different story, but most will do it. Again, so much so I remember Obama being noteworthy for being a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
And people would talk about that because it was so unusual. But I mean, even Biden, as up until when he was president, would still do it. So
no, Biden now. You see Biden. I see clips now where Biden's like pulling people in for photos and stuff.
I was in an event where if I were combo hunting, which I wasn't at the time, I couldn't. But if I were combo hunting, I would have Biden. How confident I was. But it
Wait,
just
what do
wasn't
you
in
mean?
the cards.
Why couldn't you have done it?
It was a work event, and I had other obligations.
Can't put you. Oh, that's terrible. You had to do it.
That was not happening. So that's just the reality of the situation.
Big mistake.
I'll live. Let's see. Marcus's question. What's one thing you have in your collection that you got a beautiful sig on, but now that person has done work that you like better, and you wish that beautiful sig was on something from that work? Like, for example, he gives us an example. He has a pre-Titanic DiCaprio on a Romeo and Juliet item, but he would love that beautiful signature on something like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is more or less impossible because Leo does not give good signatures anymore, even if you can get them. That
is true. He's been signing more, but they're all bad. Every one of them. All right. I'll take it first, I guess. There's definitely signatures I got that weren't beautiful that I wish I did differently, but that'll be an answer for a different question. I think the one I could think of off the top of my head would be way back in 2008, I believe it was 2008. Lanza and myself were in New York City. We went to the set of Get Him to the Greek with Russell Brand and Jonah Hill. And this was like Jonah right after Superbad. He really was not very big at the time. He was not, well, he was actually in terms of size, he was pretty big at the time. But his status and his star power was not. And he was also pretty nice. And we were there, and I don't know why I had blanks, but I had blanks. And back in the day, and I don't know if we've talked about this really as a concept, but when you get a blank done in Sharpie, you can then throw it into a regular printer and then print over the Sharpie signature with any picture you want. So I had blanks with me. I don't know why I didn't print in advance. I don't remember if this was like a surprise thing that we were doing something else and then it popped up and I just had the blanks with me. I don't recall. But in any case, I had blanks. And I got photo ops with Jonah. I got photo ops with Russell. And they both signed the blanks. And ultimately, I'm probably more annoyed about the Jonah because Jonah Hill at the time gave me a signature that would never get authenticated. Never, ever, ever. JONAHHILL, every single letter, almost like an infantile way of it was more almost printing than signature, but it was a signature. It's probably the signature he would sign on his grandmother's birthday card. And it was a beautiful full signature, which nowadays and in years past, he gave out the business cards of, oh, you met Jonah Hill and it was a big disappointment and all this different stuff. He is not giving signatures like that. And I printed a promo photo from Superbad over it. And shockingly, it hasn't aged poorly. It looks fine. It looks like a picture I printed at home with a black Sharpie, so it doesn't look great. But I mean, it's held up. It's in one piece. But I wish it was something different. I wish I had a poster of Superbad. I wish I could have time traveled and gotten him on Wolf of Wall Street or War Dogs or some of the other stuff he's done that I've enjoyed a lot, more than maybe. I mean, Superbad I loved, but I just wouldn't have wanted the blank that I printed over.
I actually have one that comes to mind immediately. So you and I were in the city that time. This is one of my favorite stories, actually.
I think I know where you're going with it. And if this isn't where you're going with it, I'm going to make fun of you.
So we are waiting. I believe we're waiting for. I don't know why I was in the city, to be honest. We were waiting for Entourage. Was that the story? One of the guys from Entourage. And I noticed across the street, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, went into a building. So we got to get him on the way out. Let's go. But we didn't have any items for him. We already had perfect photo ops, so that it became a quest to travel to all the nearest bookstores and magazines, newspaper stands, and everything to try and find some kind of magazine or thing with Rock on the cover. Now I'm choking, of course. So even though he was the top star on TV, as luck would have it, that we couldn't find anything. And then finally we found this magazine that was the top 50 SmackDown superstars or something, some garbage like that. And he was inside the magazine, but for reasons I don't quite understand, he was the only guy not on the cover. We bought this stupid magazine for $10, and he signed it. It's a perfect rock signature on the cover of this magazine. And Lord, I wish I could have that on my WrestleMania 18 poster.
Agreed, but I will say and I have a story of yours that you should regret a lot more than this, that you should want to switch, but I'll get to that in a moment. What made it, what saved it a little bit was he gave a little bit of an interaction, and he like signed over Cena. I remember he made some joke, at least when he was signing mine, and he's like F him or whatever, and signed right on Cena's face. So that was kind of funny. And I guess considering they had that feud at the time, that if he wasn't going to be on the post, if he wasn't going to be on the cover, and that's all we had, I guess him signing right on Cena's face is about as good as it gets. Did he do that for you as well? Is that where he signed it?
He did. Yep, he did.
Okay. And here's the story you should regret. You got Robin Williams on your Law and Order SVU poster. Actually, you got Rock on that too. That Law and Order.
No, I got Rock on my Star Trek.
Star Trek. That's a regret you could have as well. I guess the magazine is. I think the magazine's cooler than that.
I disagree.
And Robin on the Law and Order poster was a wild choice.
That's the only good thing he ever did.
Stop.
Come on, vastly overrated as an actor. I like the guy, but he was good in Law and Order SVU on that guest spot.
He was good in just about everything, but he was not.
He was bad. A lot of bad movies masquerading as good movies. He was great in Awakenings. Maybe I should have gotten an Awakenings poster, but then I would have to get De Niro.
You could have done Ascendant.
I could, but at the end of the day, so funny that you say that, I completely forgot. Like right now I can recall that I got him on there, but I completely forgot. I got all kinds of weird names on that poster. I got Hayden Panettiere on that poster. I got there were a couple of like very strange people who I got on Law and Order SVU. But pretty much any actor who's ever come through New York City was in SVU. So it's like a catch-all.
Yeah, I'm shocked you made the decision to stray away from the actual principal cast. I feel like
no, but I got the principal cast on the jacket. Don't forget the poster was my extra item. Mariska never signed the poster because she was one per. So that was my extra item.
I copied that poster. I printed it myself, but mine is 8x10, which is I imagine Vinny's getting a little aroused just hearing the word 8x10 right now. But I wish I had done larger.
There's jokes to be made all around. Yes. But no, anyway, yeah, I have a few of this kind of situation where I have beautiful autographs on the wrong item, but now I just kind of chalk it up to whatever. It's sort of funny. I mean, look, hell, my white collar, I have the cast signed white collar was an 8x10 printed on my home inkjet printer. It was on glossy photo paper, but still, they're dying off.
Shockingly. I did a lot of things with like home printouts, and they've honestly aged better when you look at some of the old home. Because I had like a $500 printer at the time, so like the prints honestly don't look that much worse than like a Walgreen. But still, it's like holy crap! I was getting like A-listers on like home printouts.
Yeah, I got Matt Damon on that home printout. Yeah, man. I got Frankie Muniz on my home printout that time. Did you ever get Frankie Muniz?
Yep. Forget which con. I think it was Philly Wizard World. It was the one with Burt Reynolds that you didn't go. It was me.
I was gonna say because I got him for free.
It was me, my friend Tony, and Ira, and we road trip to Philly for Burt and for a couple other people.
That's very interesting because I in retrospect I probably should have gone for Burt Reynolds. I had no interest.
Oh, you don't have? Was that must have been during one of your retirements?
You make me sound like Terry Funk.
You are like Terry Funk. There's no making it sound.
Anyway, what is coming up for us right now? Wait, we have the third question. No, that is the third question. No, we have the third question. What am I saying? Third question from Vinny, the man who may or may not be aroused by your last comment. Who have you always walked by at conventions who has since died that you now regret not getting a combo from? Is there anyone you still always walk by that you think you should get but have not yet pulled the trigger?
Yes, and yes. I'm going to give Vinny 2. I will give Vinny 2 because I think they're varying degrees of amusing, at least to me. The first one is the same one Vinny actually dropped, which was Carol Spinney. I grew up on Sesame Street. Not literally on Sesame Street, but I mean, I grew up watching Sesame Street. And I don't have a good answer for you why. I didn't get him. I think at the time, I didn't always get voice actors. I think at the time I kind of was like, whatever. He's not the bird. I don't see a single feather, whatever. Who cares? And I never got him. And then there was one time I was poised to get him, and I was at Rhode Island Comic-Con. I think it might have been the last year that we did the marked out dinner afterwards. And I was up in that area of the con. It was like the end of the day. And I was trying to do the right thing. You were doing something. I think that's when you were running around trying to figure out if you could still get on the line for the dude from Rick and Morty.
Yeah, Justin Roiland was.
It was that show.
It was an absolute madness at that show. Where it still pisses me off. Go ahead.
You were dealing with that. And I was like one aisle over. He was like against the wall in that area of the con. And then there was the row, and then there was the next row. And I was in that next row just weirdly staring over at Carol Spiney. Oh, Spiney, whatever he was. And I remember thinking to myself, like, this guy looks like he's going to die. Like now. He looks awful. I should get him. And I didn't. And I don't really have a good reason why. And it's the kind of like hobby nightmare fuel that pushes me to do all the crazy things I do. Because why didn't I get him? And my life has been fine. Nothing bad in my life is caused by me not getting him. And I've survived just fine not doing it. So it's not the end of the world. But at the same time, why didn't I get him? I don't know. So that's one. And my second one, which is kind of humorous, it was, we talk about this show a lot. We've never said this on air, and I honestly didn't remember this until now. Did you remember that at the Oaks show that we got Sherman Helmsley and Shamrock and all these people? Do you remember that we had a table at that show?
I do.
I didn't.
I brought my laptop, and I was signing people up for the board on the laptop.
Yeah, so we had a vendor table at the Oaks Con. And I remember there's actually 2 regrets now. Crap, I forgot. So anyway, we're in this row. And Priscilla Barnes was there next to us. And also it was Erin Moran from Happy Days. And I kind of went into the show thinking, okay, I'm going to get Erin Moran because I like Happy Days. I'm going to get Priscilla Barnes. And all I remember was Erin Moran was like bald. She had a terrible head of hair. And it was almost unsightly to see from behind. She had a giant like skin yarmulke on her head.
Oh my god!
I remember I made the decision. I'm not paying money for bald-headed Joni. Like it makes no sense. I don't know what I was expecting. I think the hair was going to grow back. Like I don't know what I was waiting for. I said, yeah, she's bald. I don't care. Which I apologize to any bald female listeners out there that I deeply regret my prejudiced views towards balding women, but I didn't want her because she was bald, and I didn't get her. Don't know why. Whatever. She's now dead. Hopefully that hair thing wasn't part of her cause of death eventually.
I imagine it probably was. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I apologize again to the ghost of Erin Moran. Also, then I didn't get Priscilla Barnes. There was no profound reason why. I think she was just, I don't know. I just didn't get her. She didn't look enough like I remembered her looking on the show, which tends to happen when like 35 years pass. And I believe she too is now dead. So I actually gave 3 because they were next to us at the tables. And yeah, I didn't. I don't know why.
So Carol Spinney is one of mine also. I can be more specific about it though. I passed on him a million times because he was always at every show, and I'll get him next time, Then when I was ready to get him was when his wife was like clearly holding his hand while he was signing because he couldn't sign anymore. And then it was like, well, I don't want this. I don't want this signature. And he also used to do a really nice like Carol Spinney, and he would draw Big Bird, and he would do all these things. He was no longer sketching. He was no longer doing multicolor. He really couldn't. He wasn't even writing his first name anymore. He was just writing his last name. And so I was like, and I passed for that reason because I figured he's basically just the Walking Dead now. And so there was no sense in getting someone who really wasn't alive, even though he was sitting at the table charging money. And it was a lot too. But his last show, he was a lot, like $60 or something, really high. And he couldn't even do anything. So I was like, I felt exploitative even trying to do that. So I didn't. That's the one that really sticks out at me. Also, another big one for me was Val Kilmer. I passed on Val Kilmer a few times out of sheer laziness. I don't have a good explanation for it. I just didn't get him. He was there. He was at Big Apple Con. I didn't get him. That early one. There's no reason. I remember just at the time being, I think what happened was I got Richard Dreyfuss, who was like horrible. And so I was in a bad mood. And I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I was leaving. And that was like my thing. I really wasn't fully subservient to the combo gods in the way that I am now. And so now it would be unheard of, to just leave. But I was really disgusted after the horrific experience with Richard Dreyfuss, who's like just a disgusting creature. And so that's it. I just left. So I would say Val Kilmer and Carol Spinney.
Wow. So who's your Huckleberry now?
Of people who I haven't passed on, but who I passed on, but they're still alive.
No, I was just making a joke about Val Kilmer. So you don't have.
No, I get it, but I'm trying to think of because he said, "Is there anyone I always walk by that you should have?" Look, I mean, I've never gotten the guys from the Warriors. I've seen them 100 times. I've never gotten them. You know, I'm going to say Eugene Clark from Land of the Dead. Because we always joke about him. He's like the new Virgil. He doesn't post prices. He makes eye contact when you're walking by. All those carny. Oh, he's always suited. All these carny things that I enjoy. I mean, the movie's horrible, but his little scene was good. I'm gonna say Eugene Clark. Will I remedy that? Probably not. Truthfully, because I don't want to have to enter a protracted negotiation with someone over this. I'm over it. So that's it for me. All right. So what's coming up for us? You have a funny one coming up.
Wait, hold on. I didn't answer my part of that question.
All right. You're just taking a long time. Go ahead.
Not keeping me up at night, but D. Wallace. I've thought about getting D. Wallace many times. Robert Patrick would have been the name on this list, but now that I got him, I guess I'll say D. Wallace, who I will rectify at Chiller.
So we are getting D. Wallace at Chiller.
Yes.
All right, assuming that she maintains her place on this earth.
And speaking of maintaining their place on this earth, I got something coming up.
Yeah, so you decided out of nowhere to attend some kind of cabaret night that's local to us, but at which apparently Sally Struthers will be appearing. Will she be performing, singing, and dancing, or is she just existing?
She's belting out a couple numbers, which, I mean, I don't know how many numbers she could belt out. And then she's also meeting and greeting. I got confirmation from the theater that she will be doing a meet and greet. And I found this out basically, I think a day before, or maybe the same day as she was announced for Chiller, which is kind of interesting. But here's the problem. Cabaret night is February 28th. Chiller is like April 27th. She's 79 years old. Last I saw her, she was a little bit rotund. How long is she going to live? Maybe Rob Reiner's son gets loose and decides to kill another All in the Family cast member. Anything's possible. I have to endure cabaret night to make sure she doesn't die. It's the right move, I think, at least by the combo god's opinion.
And just to be clear, anyone who's doubting, he's 100% sincere about this.
No,
we had this exact conversation without being recorded. I was like, you're out of your mind going to this cabaret night just on when you can get. If your Sally Struthers was that important to you, you can get her in April. And he is genuinely worried that she will pass away between February and April. That is a sincere, actual concern.
And also, to be fair, I'm paying $75. If I'm able to get a combo, that's probably the Chiller price for the combo. So the money will cancel itself out. It's just the idea that I will have suffered for 2.5 hours at this theater in Bellport, New York, to watch Cabaret.
Is that Gateway Playhouse? Around. What is that?
Yes, which I've never been.
That's a very small place. Very small.
I've never been there in a haunted house setting. That is usually my yearly haunted house haunt, I guess, so to speak. That is the best haunted house on Long Island at the Gateway Playhouse. So I am going in non-Halloween. No one will be horror suited except for maybe Sally Struthers, depending on how she looks. I'm going. And you're going to regret it.
Will you bring an 8x10 of her from South Park to try and get signed? Or
listen, I don't know what I'm going to do because I was already looking on eBay for Rob Reiner All in the Family crap. If there's anything All in the Family I could find with him on it since I met him and got only a photo op. I would love to have at least the two of them on something. But there's so much fake Reiner stuff on eBay, which is shocking. And there's a couple items on there that look like they might be real. I have to really do a deep dive and decide if I want to buy something that might be real, because his signature is pretty simple, so it's fakeable. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I may end up just printing some like All in the Family 11 by 14, and I will get her and her alone on it, which I know would make you just exorcist vomit. But
yeah, well, it's actually like disgusting to think about. Actually, that's the best.
Maybe Chiller will book like the daughter of Carol O'Connor or something, and I can, I can get them the right RIP message on it.
You still have 2 Chainz coming up, which is not sold out. You pumped for 2 Chainz?
I am. I always love adding some new rappers to my ever growing collection.
You're gonna be standing there by yourself at this rate. What else? We have Monster Mania. I have my Derry print. It's outstanding. You have just ordered yours. I can only hope that it gets lost in the mail before Monster Mania happens, so we're not walking around with the same print.
Listen, I think yours is going to be bigger than mine, so that should make you happy.
I'm gonna have to get extra creative with the marker placement or something else that's gonna make it stand out.
So I guess we're not going to collaborate. We're not going to collaborate on quotes.
You're joking. You want to have the exact same thing? Why don't you just let me do it and then just photocopy mine and put it up?
That's not a bad idea.
Ugh.
Listen, I just hope I don't get poster envy, since yours is going to be bigger.
We're doing Steel City Con. We have to decide, and maybe we can solicit the group for this. We would like to do some kind of dinner either at Monster Mania or Steel City or both. We used to do the big marked out dinner at Rhode Island Comic Con. Again, not opposed to that either in November. We'd like to do some kind of meet up or get together. I don't know how what that should look like, or how many people would be interested in it. But Monster Mania, we're going to go to. I just checked my calendar. Monster Mania, we're going to hit that Saturday, right?
Yes. I don't think it's worth taking a day off. Plus, I mean, all you need is one kid's flight to be like delayed or something, and you're screwed up.
That's the 7th. Yeah. I have. And we're definitely not going Sunday. I actually have something on Sunday. Sunday is actually the big Fixed Tier 6 rally in Albany, so I'll be there on Sunday the 8th. But Saturday the 7th is we should probably do some kind of see how many people are around Monster Mania, do some kind of dinner, and Steel City is when?
Let me check. I'm not sure if I put it in my calendar. I didn't.
I did, but it's not here. Where did I must have put it in wrong then.
It is April.
Oh, it's
11th.
So I also think we should do because we're going to be there for at least
it is in
my
calendar. Yeah.
So we should do some kind of dinner. So I guess we'll post something. We should post something this week to try and get a little bit of a head count or an idea as for what we want to do for those days for anyone's in town. We're not paying for it. I mean, everyone will pay their own way, but something sort of like a hangout for either or both of those events if we get enough people. Because we got to eat anyway.
If you pay an extra $50, Sean will sit at your table like the Gathering style and just trash talk chiropractors or pawn shop owners or whatever you want.
I'll make fun of your items if you want. Make fun of your pen choices.
No, I mean that would be good, and it'll be interesting to see if we do a Steel City marked out dinner. I wonder if Asian Dave like materializes from the ether and does it.
Maybe. Because we end up seeing a bunch of people at these things who we know. And honestly, we see people we don't know. So this could be a fun little experiment. Because again, we got to eat anyway. So
it's like combo speed dating.
Not in any way. It's actually nothing like that. I'm not sure why that's the analogy you come up with. It's nothing like that at all. It's just to pass the time in a way among people like-minded people. Maybe we can choose one member of the community to sacrifice to the combo gods as an offering to atone for whatever sins we commit that weekend.
I volunteer, Asian Dave.
So if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out Autograph Collecting community on Facebook. And we're once again promoting our signings with Rick Martel and Don Morocco at the big event on Long Island. We do have one or two big rubber guys for Rick Martel still left in stock. If you would like one of those, please order. Those are not in production anymore. Again, we are handling all mail-ins for Big Event for these two guys. So if you're mailing it with someone else, you're mailing it with us anyway. You might as well go to the source instead of someone else. So that is that, and I think we are good on this. We went so long, it's not even funny.
This was a doozy of an episode. We covered a whole lot of ground.
I'm shot. So wait, what's coming? Oh, I just punched the microphone. I hope that doesn't come through. Although by saying it out loud, sort of make that happen.
It definitely came through.
Yeah, I don't know why it was just a total accident.
Whatever.
We have a fun week this week. We have inventory scheduled this week, so Marked Out Collectibles is going to be working hard to make your experience shopping with us even better.
And you'll probably see some new unearthed gems going up for sale.
Right, for sure. So for markedout.com, Marked Out Collectibles, and Marked Out Radio, I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
We'll see you next week.